In prison, we had to get creative, and this, my friends, is one of the things we use, the old bed sheet. These guys pretty much always had them, always had access to them, which meant you were always able to get in a good, serious workout with them. And in this video right here, I'm going to go down a more detailed breakdown on a very specific workout with the sheets, which is going to be just directed at hitting the chest. I am going to give you first principles along with concepts so you could create your own workouts moving forward. I will then give a sample of a workout that you could do right now today yourself for your chest, and I will at the end run through a chunk of just exercises that work the chest using this. Then you will be able to just take and pluck those exercises, use the first principles and concepts that we used to use, stick it all together, and create your own workouts moving forward. That is the goal. And if you have any questions about anything, drop it in the comments. First principles and concepts. Number one, since we are using sheets and we're talking about only working chest for this, we're going to stay focused on two concepts, which is drop sets and giant sets. So for drop sets, which traditionally you'd be using weights, and the way it would go would be you would do, for instance, we're talking chest, bench. So you're hitting a bench. Once you can no longer hit it, you would peel off maybe 20 pounds or whatever, 30 pounds, then hit it again for as many reps as you could get. As soon as you're stuck, peel off another 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 10 pounds, wherever you're at, then hit it again for as many reps as you could get, and then that would be like a triple drop. Or you could just do that twice and it would be a double drop. But that's how it traditionally goes. Now, the benefit with the sheets is that although we couldn't change our own personal weight, you could change the weight or the resistance of the exercise by changing the angle that you're at. So for instance, if you were doing flies, if you have your feet further back and you're at more of an angle and you're doing the flies, you are going to be it's going to be a lot more difficult. There's going to be a lot more resistance in the exercise. So you would get as many as you could get like that, and then as soon as you can't get any more like that, then you'd take a couple steps forward, change the angle, lighten the load essentially, and then blast out as many reps as you could get like that. So that's one way of doing the advanced concepts that we would do to help out with the lack of having access to actual weights and to get the most out of these sheets and body weight only type exercises. The next concept I'm going to talk about is giant sets. Giant sets are sets where you're staying on one muscle group. So for instance, since we're talking about chest today and chest only, we're staying on chest and using 3 different exercises that all work the chest. The first thing you want to do though is you've got to know your exercises and know your body and your limits and how you work. So what you do is you first off find the different difficulty levels for each exercise. So you'd go through, you try out all the exercises and you figure out, all right, when my feet are elevated and my hands are off the floor, that is the most difficult exercise for me. Next is when my feet are on the floor and my hands are in the push-up position, I'm doing the 2-hand push-ups like that, that's the next most difficult. Then last, if I'm not in too steep up of an angle, the flies is the least most difficult. So then that would be the order that you would want to use for your giant set. So let's say, for instance, you're going to do 4 sets of giant sets for the chest. It would be first feet in the sheets, so feet elevated, hands on the floor, max rep push-ups. Then you would immediately go from that to turning around, untying, sheets separate, max reps push-ups with your hands at that level in the sheets. Then you would turn switch the location of the sheet real quick, and then come out and then lean out and do flies until you can't do flies anymore. And then that would be one set. So then you would take your rest break, maybe your partner goes, maybe two other people go, then you hit it again. That's how that flew. Rest breaks. Rest breaks was how we would dictate basically those rep ranges. Because depending on how much rest we were taking was really how many reps you were going to be able to get in the next time you got back to that exercise. So for instance, like we're going to talk about like if you're just doing straight sets now. Straight sets is when you're doing, let's say, feet elevated push-ups. That's it. You're going to go and you're going to get as many feet elevated push-ups as you can get, and then you're not going to get any more. For that, what's going to dictate how many you're going to get the next time you go down is the amount of time you take for the rest. Depending on what you're trying to focus your workouts on, that's what you change. That's like your modifier. Because if you're not using different weight, the only weight you have is you and some sheets hanging off of something. If you don't have like somewhere that you could actually put your feet up on, that's what you're doing. You're doing as many reps as you can get. And then if you're going to want to try to stay in a higher rep range, which is going to be like more of a strength builder in prison, then you would take a longer rest and go back to it. If you're trying to work on like conditioning, trying to stay like lean with it, you would end up coming back to it sooner. All right. First principles taken care of. If you have any questions, drop it in. You'll get to see this a little bit better and understand it more as we're going through the actual chest workout that I'm going to demonstrate here. Remember, I'm going to come back with also workouts going into the legs, the shoulders, and traps, and all those kind of things. So you'll get to see this with every single one of these different type of exercise workouts. However, those first principles and concepts will always be the same. For this example workout I'm going to give you guys, it's going to be let off with one of the first principles, followed by another, and then finish with another. So I'm going to give you guys all three of those first principles in action. You're going to see it. I will do one round or set of each of the different ones, so then you guys can just see what it is and not be bored to death by watching me do the whole workout. And the first thing is going to be straight sets. So it's going to be me demonstrating single arm, hands elevated sheet push-ups. So I'll be doing as many as I can get on one arm, as many as I can get on the other arm. Then it would be a rest for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something of that nature. And then I will be doing that again for a total of 4 sets. Now, if you're like, oh, I can't do single arm, just change where your feet are. So you'll see that by changing the foot location, you could essentially self-spot yourself. But for me, I'm just going to set it up where it's going to be relatively difficult for me because I'm wanting to start off with this first one being pretty difficult. So here we go. A tip is always start, if you're doing unilateral or single arm things, with your weaker arm first. Tip for you, rest break. For this, it is going to be a triple, not a triple, well, you can call it a triple drop set or a giant set. We always call them giant sets. So it's going to be 3 chest exercises ran back to back to back, then a rest break of about 2 to 3 minutes, and then 4 total sets or rounds, whatever you want to call it, of that. So just finished the 4 sets of those hands elevated sheet single arm push-ups with the straight set style. Now it is 4 sets / rounds, whatever you want to call it, of this giant set. The giant set's going to be the feet elevated push-ups. I will then untie it, go to hands in sheets push-ups, sling it down, flip it around over in that corner, and then burn out with some flies at the end. So That's the operation. Good stuff. I already know if you're doing this workout, chest is pumped. I'm talking pumped. Now, last thing is going to be a drop set. And we're going to do this drop set where it will be an illustration of just the benefit of the sheet. So it's going to be the hands elevated sheet push-ups, but we'll start out where it's going to be with our feet further back. So it's going to be a harder rep. And then once we get as many as we can get, we'll adjust the foot location, which will adjust the angle. And then same exercise, so just like a drop set, we'll be able to pump out some more reps until it's just toast. It's going to be 2 sets of that with 2 minutes rest in between. And then that's it. Chest is toast. Alright guys, here's a copy of the workout that I just did so you can screenshot it and keep it. And I'm going to just briefly, quickly go over some examples of the exercises, which is, you've already seen most of them, but it is the sheet flies, the hands elevated narrow sheet push-up. You hadn't seen that one. I didn't do that at all in this workouts. Hands elevated sheet push-ups, hands elevated sheet single arm push-ups, and also those gold standard sheet feet elevated push-ups. So this is just a splattering of the exercises that you could do to work your chest and just pick from that. If you want, you can check out over here. I will have a playlist that as this whole thing works its way out, will have all of those individual sheet muscle groups as they come out. I'll just keep dropping them in there. Otherwise, you could check out over here. It's going to be a individual video, which was the first video I did on talking about the sheets and how we used them in prison. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been good. Love you guys. Peace, joy, prosperity, and all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one.